And I'm Carrie.
And we are Paranormal Chicks.
Episode 30.
This is it.
Don't get scared now. Can you believe we're at 30?
No. And I can't wait till we're at 60. And then 90. Why don't I do 100? I don't know. I love odd numbers.
Okay. Those aren't odd.
Oh, well. You know what I mean, the beginning of it.
Except for only 90 was.
3's
60.
odd.
60 was not.
Oh, fuck. It's by 3s. Look. Well, cut that out. They're like, we know, Donna, you can't do math.
Right. But we're going to live in the moment.
You know what? I know there was a few people that were like, oh, yeah, me too. I know.
No, I mean, I totally got on the train you were on.
But
But I knew that it was going to derail.
You were the conductor and you were like, woot, woot. Stop it.
But we're going to live in the moment and we're going to be like, woohoo, episode 30.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's crazy.
I know. And it comes at a time in October, which is even better. And we have all this stuff for October planned. So it's like...
So much stuff for October planned. Why did I say it that way?
And exactly what I said.
I'm a repeater, okay? We've established that.
I'm an outfit repeater, hardcore.
Oh, are you kidding? I had this on yesterday. No, I'm kidding.
So we're doing 13 Days of Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
Dun, dun, dun. Do your...
That?
Yeah. I did my fingers.
Or okay. That's all I got. Oh, wait, one more. This is Halloween. This is Halloween.
Oh my gosh. Yes, all of that rolled into 13 days. Hey, and that is an odd fucking number.
It sure is. And it's a prime number.
Yeah, I still don't understand that, but okay. 30 episodes, and I still don't understand prime numbers.
This is not a math podcast. That's okay. So, Dottie, you want to tell them what we have planned for 13 Days of Halloween?
Okay, behind door number 1,
we have...
lots of shit. No, so y'all have heard one of our things, and that was on Saturday.
Yes.
We did a little bonus spooky episode, and it's all stories from Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, or...
Trilogy.
Yeah.
The trilogy.
That whole thing. But they're the little books that we read as kids.
Which is very different as an adult, one.
Yes.
Because those stories are way shorter than we thought. But 2, those illustrations are still just as fucking scary.
Oh gosh. So scary. But we thought these would be good stories that y'all could enjoy. And you can enjoy with your kids.
Yeah. So the first episode that we released of it, not so kid-friendly. But it will be kid-friendly from here on out.
Yes. So we're going to do stories like that. And we're going to have Patreon exclusive content as well. So if you've been on the fence, you're like, should I, shouldn't I? Hop that fence, whatever, get on board. Because it's Spooky Town, it needs some residents.
Mm-hmm. But another thing that is available to everyone, well, some of the content is.
Yeah.
But another thing that's available to everyone is we are going to do 2 giveaways this month. How do you win? Review us. So we're going to do a giveaway for iTunes and a giveaway for Stitcher. So all you have to do is write us a review on whichever platform that you use and screenshot your review and send it to us in an email, and you'll be entered in for a drawing.
Yes. We really want Stitcher or iTunes. Those are our 2 big ones, but any platform will do.
Yeah, but preferably iTunes and Stitcher. So,
yes.
So email us the screenshots of your reviews at aparanormalchicks@gmail.com. All right, any more announcements? Halloween merch.
Oh, yeah. We have Halloween merch.
Oh my God, can I please say that, okay, I was like 4 episodes behind because I'm a little bit of a narcissist and go back and listen to our episodes. And I was listening, to it on 1.5 speed. And
she's special.
And One time whenever I said Halloween merch, like sing-songy, oh my God, on 1.5, it's like Halloween merch.
It really is. I wish you had it queued up.
Oh my God, it was so fucking funny. So now, like when I say Halloween merch, I'm like, Halloween merch.
How do you do it yourself? That's crazy. Alvin! Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. And our laughs on 1.52 are too much.
I think they're too much on
True.
Okay.
True.
There is a glitch in the Matrix, and she just keeps saying true.
True.
But yeah, we do have Halloween merch. We would love for you to go check it out at store.aparanormalchicks.com.
But you can access all of that through our website, aparanormalchicks.com. You can access Patreon, the merch store, and it has a contact us to send us an email in case you forget any of it.
Yep. And also, of course, you can listen to the podcast on there and check out the podcast notes.
With all the pictures. Okay. We have some new Patreoners to shout out.
Yes.
So, thank you, Emily R.,
Morgan N.,
Gina R.,
Monica M.
We say the last name letters so weird. Gina R. Shout out to Gina, is my coworker, and she the best.
I know, that's so awesome.
But I mean, y'all are all the best.
She just sees her every day.
Yeah.
But y'all are just in time.
And do y'all remember me talking about that stupid peanut and candy corn thing that was so damn good?
Did
I tell that?
I don't think you told them. You told me.
Well, I was going to say, Gina's the one that keeps bringing it and making me stuff my face. Okay, sorry. But yes, y'all are just in time for all of the awesome 13 days of Halloween stuff we've got going on.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be spooktacular.
She is the mayor of Spooky Town. So thank y'all so much for being part of the Patreon. We truly appreciate it. And we... What?
I'm sorry, I'm just
thinking about you being the mayor? That makes me the alderman. Anyway, thank y'all so much, and we hope that y'all enjoy all of the extra goodies that you get from being part of it.
Yes. Like Snapchat group.
Mm-hmm.
Like lives.
Mm-hmm.
Like
a whole separate Facebook group.
Mm-hmm. And a thank you note and a sticker.
And depending on what level you are, bloopers, percentage off of merch, a free mug.
Yep. Gift certificate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the rewards just keep stacking on each other.
It's pretty fucking amazing.
I mean, I'd be a Patreoner.
I sure would.
I mean, I feel like I am a Patreoner.
I know, we buy all the shit.
All right. Well, thank y'all.
Ready now?
Yes.
That was a lot today. We had a lot of housekeeping.
Well, yeah, because we don't like to clean. We don't want to do housework, so we just keep it all together, and then it's like
a free-for-all.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta get everything done.
It's spring cleaning. Here we go.
Okay. So, the other night, I was watching Investigation Discovery while I was going to bed.
Imagine that.
As one does. And there was an episode of something. Now I can't freaking remember what it was, of course.
Oh my God. These facts, y'all.
So accurate. But anyway, I was like fascinated by it because normally I just fall asleep in the middle of an episode and I have no idea what happens. But this time I like stayed up watching it because I loved it. So this story was also on an episode of Snapped that I went back and watched too. And I had never seen this episode of Snapped. It was from like season 2 and the narrator was even different. I was like, oh, interesting. All right. Have you ever heard of Rita Gluzman?
No.
I hadn't either until I watched that episode. So Rita Gluzman, she was born and raised in the Soviet Union in the Ukraine.
Like Gluzman?
Gluzman.
Okay.
Okay. So she was born and raised in the Soviet Union in the Ukraine, and she was born in 1948. And she was from a very impoverished area, and she knew that the only way to get out was education. And so she went to university, and she met and married Yakov Gluzman. So obviously her last name's from her marriage. Yeah. So they were like, okay, we're married. We both got our education. They both graduated from college. We want to move to Israel because it's the Soviet Union and it's very oppressive.
Yeah, shit's going down.
Yeah. So they were like, okay, we want to go to Israel. But at the time, the Soviet government was refusing to let people who are Jewish immigrate anywhere because they wanted to keep them for different jobs and different yada, yada, yada. And Yakov was a brilliant scientist. And so, again, that was part of why the Soviet Union didn't want him to immigrate to another country, too, right, because they wanted to keep the smart people there. So
they would ask me, what's a prom number? And then we're like, she can go. Let her pass.
So Yakov's father had waited 15 years for a permit for the family to leave. And so they finally got the permit that they could go to Israel, but it was letting everybody go but Yakov. And so Rita was like, I'm not leaving my husband. Like, I'm not going to do it. So it was 5 more years of them trying to get it. None was ever granted. Well, Rita ended up getting pregnant. And so they were like, no, go to Israel while you're pregnant and I'll meet you there as soon as I can.
Yeah.
So she leaves and she's like, okay, he'll eventually come, right? So she Yakov kept doing appeals. And while he's doing that, Rita temporarily came to the United States. And when she got here, because she was hoping that she would be able to get some leverage not leverage, but assistance to get him out of the Soviet Union. So while she was here in the States, she went on an 18-day hunger strike in order to get interest in his case.
Wait, she was still pregnant or
No. She had the baby already.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She had the baby eats a boy. And
oh my God, if y'all know what commercial that's from, Tiffany, I know you do.
Wasn't it like MCI or something? Collect call, something. But it wasn't for collect. It was for like a long distance provider, I thought.
It was like,
because it was like, you have a call from, and he said,
we had a baby eats a boy.
Yeah. Like Bob had a baby eats a boy.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I think it was whatever the yellow thing was, like 1-800-COLLECT.
Oh, well.
That shit doesn't even exist anymore.
I know.
Mind fucking blown.
I know.
We're that old.
Okay. So, long story short, she did some work with the United Nations and she got a lot of publicity from the hunger strike and the fact that the Soviet Union wouldn't let him leave. So after all of these appeals and all this trying, November 25th, they were actually reunited.
Aww.
In Vienna.
He got to see his baby.
And then on the 27th, they went to Israel and they lived there for a little while. They went to Tel Aviv University, did some more studying, yada, yada, yada. So, flash forward to 1977, and they moved back to America. Well, she had already been here, but they moved together to America and settled in New York. So, again, he was this brilliant scientist, and when he was in America, he did a lot of cancer research and was well known in the field, was making these huge, groundbreaking discoveries.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. So when they got here, too, he's like, they're living the American dream. He's making like $180,000 a year.
Holy Hannah.
And
cha-ching, cha-ching.
And she's like doing that and spending all the money.
Oh, shit.
In the 80s, they bought this beautiful 2-story home in Jersey. And then they had put a lot of money in the stock market. And so this is like late 80s, early 90s. No. They were making bank. This was like before the crash.
Okay.
So they were making a ton of fucking money. Like at this point now, they're worth millions. And so
I cannot fathom that.
No, me neither. And so Yakov bought her a company and they called it ECI, and it was so that Rita could run it. And basically
bought her a company.
Yeah, basically it was like a computer firm company, like a technology type business.
Basically Chandler Bing would have worked there.
Pretty much, yeah. And so they owned the company together, but it was so kind of she had something to do because at this point, their son was grown and like gone off to college and whatever. Well, Rita was a really shitty businesswoman and was running the business into the ground. They were having to use personal money to keep it afloat. She was spending money like crazy, buying cars and, mink coats and, just all this lavish. I mean, completely opposite of how she grew up. Like, you can understand why she did it, but because she's, in her mind, living the American dream, having all these luxuries compared to how she was raised.
And old Yuck, he's like, you are why we can't have nice things. Mm-hmm. And also why we do have so many nice things.
I mean, thank you for my amazing car, but stop spending money. Mm-hmm. So the son's out of the house, and they start to have some trouble in the marriage. He's working all the time. She's spending all the money. And he's like, stop spending all of her money. And she just won't. And so
she needs that Spooky Town, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Spooky Town mink coat. Not the same.
I mean, I think it's more important, but whatever.
So he, while at work, fell in love with another scientist. A couple of the things that I read made it sound like the other scientist, I call her a girl, but obviously she's a woman. She's like educated and shit. Lived in Israel, but then some stuff said that like made it sound like she lived in the States, but they wanted to run away together to Israel. So I'm not exactly sure.
They probably met over AOL chat.
Mm-hmm. So he was like, look, I'm one out of this marriage. Like, it's not working. We're not getting along. Kids off to the college, not, grown up. Like, I want a divorce. And Rita was pissed.
She was like, skirt.
Yes. So he moved out. He got himself a little apartment. He left Rita with $90,000. She spent it in 1 month.
1 month?
That's more than most people make a year. That's what families live, like families of like 4.
Yeah.
Or more. Or even like more kids, live on less money.
Oh my gosh.
She spent that in a fucking month.
That's sickening.
I cannot even imagine.
I mean, no. Was she building a house?
I mean, like, Avi, you can think of ways to spend that much money. Like, I could totally spend that much money in a month, but...
And not if that's what I had.
But, like, make a dent in my student loans, but... Barely. No.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so, it's like, this is why this isn't working.
Exactly.
Rita.
But I will say, it does aggravate me that he started having an affair. Like, in the marriage, like, do what you gotta do, but...
In the marriage.
Stop that. Just wait, Mm-hmm. Because if you're really, like, in love with this girl, just wait until you leave your wife.
Yeah. And also, most of the time, if you start a relationship...
With infidelity?
Mm-hmm. At some point, it's going to end.
In infidelity?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Not always.
Just a PSA, just a warning, foreshadowing of the foreskin. Go ahead.
Okay. So like I said, Rita was fucking pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Yakov claimed that she was abusive, and that was part of, like, not like physically, but verbally, much like List's wife.
Well, I was just thinking when you said they were making all that money, I was like, don't buy a 19 house, like a 19-bedroom house with a ballroom, because we know how that ended up.
Right. Rita hired some private investigators to, like, get all the dirt that she could on him, like, followed him and his girlfriend to Israel, taking pictures of them.
Well, damn, that's how she spent the $90,000.
Right. She, like, illegally had wiretaps on his phone and stuff.
Shit.
Like, this girl was fucking in it to win it. Like, woman scorned, in it to fucking win it.
I wonder if they had a prenup.
No.
Well,
hell, think about how this marriage started.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she went on, like, an 18-day hunger strike at the UN to get him out of the Soviet Union.
True.
Like, this was, like, this amazing love story in the media at the time because she worked so hard to get him out of the Soviet Union. And then they were reunited and they had the kid because he was only like less than a year old at this point. You know what I mean? And so it was like this, they were known.
Yeah. Well, don't trust anyone who can go without eating for 18 days.
I mean, you want to talk about hangry?
I mean,
headaches.
I think I'd be licking the sidewalk just for
too much
shit.
Because that's what you would get off of it is shit.
I mean, protein.
God, too much. Too much.
That's why I said don't trust anyone. Just for me thinking about it, I'm like, I'd eat that shit. I mean, honestly.
So the divorce was going to be like ridiculous. It was a very bitter, long fighting divorce, as you would expect when that much money's on the table. Like,
yeah,
of course. And so she was trying to blackmail him with the photos and the wiretapping and all that. And he's like, after a year and a half of this drawn out divorce battle, he was finally like, Rita, I give up. Look, I'll give you $1.5 million if you just end this. Just sign the fucking papers.
Right.
And she's like, give me a few days to think about it. Well, because her thing was she was she was pissed that after all this, he's like leaving her for another woman. And two, she wants the money. I mean, she doesn't want her lifestyle to change because it would completely change. And she doesn't want to lose her company too. And so since it was in both their name, so that was part of it too.
But it was terrible. They were having to pay
out of
personal
agree.
stuff. So, Rita, cut your losses. Should. And then also, you could have invented Craigslist and sold off your mink coat. I mean, I'm just saying.
So on April 7th, which was Easter Sunday, a patrol car is going through New Jersey, and the police officer sees this tall, bearded man throwing garbage bags into the Passaic River. And he's like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Why is he throwing fucking trash in the river? Are you fucking kidding me? So he comes up to the guy and he's like, bro, what you doing? And he said the guy like looks like he's seen a ghost. Like that he is like, fuck. Yeah. And the police officer notices the man's right hand is bleeding some. And he's like, what's happening here? What are you doing? And he notices that in the guy's car, there's a lot more police bags, not a thing, a lot more trash bags. And so he's like, what's in the bags, dude? And so he looks, and in one bag, he found like an axe, a hacksaw, clothes, a scalpel, shoes. And then in another bag, he found what looked like intestines.
Oh, fuck.
So he was like, beep, boop, beep, doop, boop, boop, boop. Call for backup.
Yeah. Fucking Dexter's on the loose.
The backup gets there. They start looking in the river, and they found more body parts in the river.
Gosh.
So they start asking some questions to the guy, but he didn't speak much English. But according to his ID, his name was Vladimir Zelenin. And the car that he was in was registered to Rita Gluzman.
She done hired him to kill Yak.
That took me a second. Like when I was like, to kill Yak. What are you talking? And then I was like, oh, you sure doesn't know. Okay.
And he ain't coming back. Oh, fuck. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, Poen didn't know it. Okay. So they take Vladimir to the station to like ask him some questions, figure out what the fuck he was doing with these bodies. Like, Who is it? Like all that, and in that process too is when they found out who the car was registered to. So they get the medical examiner down at the river, and the medical examiner is trying to figure out like what all this is. And the medical examiner is like, I don't even know how many bodies this is because there's so many pieces. So they get a translator there, and Vladimir says that he is a physicist who has only been in the U.S. for a year, and, a year and a half, and that he works at ECI for his cousin, Rita.
Oh, shit.
And that the body in the bags is Yakov.
Damn.
So he said that together they waited on him to come home. And in his apartment, like they waited in the little entryway, came in the door, hit him with the axe and the hatchet. Rita's the one that hit him with the axe. And then they dragged him into the bathroom and they chopped him up into 67 pieces.
Shit.
When they asked, like, why did you chop him up so much? Vladimir's quote was that he was a big man and too big to get out the door.
Whoa.
So,
you know what? One, don't body shame.
No, he wasn't like, he just was he was like tall and a big guy, like not like fat. He wasn't fat. I mean, even if he was, don't body shame.
2, that's really gross.
67 fucking pieces.
Ugh.
Yeah. So they, of course, charge him with murder. They go into the apartment and they start searching and they find nothing. They can't find any fingerprints. They can't find any hair. They do their little tests with the chemicals. They cannot find any blood in the carpet. Nothing. And so they also couldn't find Rita. And so they're like, fuck, she's missing. Like, what if Vladimir killed her too?
Yeah.
Like, she was probably another victim. And so they start looking for her. Can't find her. 6 days later, there was an isolated cabin in Jersey. And this cleaning lady goes in to clean it. And she comes in on Rita in the cabin. And Rita jumps out the window to flee. And a security guard driving by catches her and, like, takes her in.
Because he's like, who's that naked woman in a mink coat?
It's kind of my style. It puts the lotion in the basket. Okay. So Rita says that she was on the run because the Russian mafia killed her husband, and she was like, I had to get the fuck out of there. And so,
I mean, would have been believable had it not been her fucking cousin.
well, and the cabin that they found her in was owned by a company that her husband used to work for. So it wasn't like this like rando cabin.
Yeah.
And then her car had a stolen license plate on it. And there were travel books from Switzerland and Australia that were in the car. She had her passport and, like, airline information on flights to Switzerland. But she's like, I'm running from the mafia.
Mm-hmm.
But they use her phone records and figure out that you started running before, like,
he was killed.
Well, no, because she was, according to Vladimir,
there.
she was there. But, like, she started running before any of this happened. Like, as soon as what would have been him dead, she hits the road. And so they're like,
yeah.
And had plans and was working on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the laws in New York was that you can't just try someone or arrest someone based on another witness's testimony. Like, they can't just be like, look, Vladimir said you did it, so you're under arrest.
Right.
You know, because there was no physical evidence in the apartment. Like, how the fuck there was none? There was none. And so they're like, we cannot charge her with murder because there's no fucking evidence. And so they were like, okay, we gotta, like, the district attorney stuff, they're like, okay, we gotta do some digging. Like, we gotta figure out how we can get her because we can't just charge her with murder.
Yeah.
So what they ended up doing was charging her with violating the Violence Against Women Act, which is actually a non-gender specific act. He's going to act you. But what it is it makes it criminal to cross state lines with the intention of injuring or intimidating your spouse or partner. So since Rita traveled from Jersey, where she lived, to New York, to his apartment to kill him, they were able to charge her with the Violence Against Women Act, which was a federal offense.
Oh, shit.
She was the first woman to ever be charged under this act.
Wow. She loved making headlines.
Mm-hmm. And she was the first person to ever be charged with murder under this act.
Oh.
So they go to trial, and I forget, I think they said that the state brought like 96 witnesses against her. They had private investigators that she had hired to do like the cameras and all that, the pictures and all that, but that in that she was asking them to do like, not to like take him out, but to take him out, like get rid of the girl, do all, all these different things. I can't remember exactly what it is. Some I made all that last part up, but she had asked these private investigators to do shitty things. I can't, Of course, I'm blanking on what it was.
Hypothetically.
Allegedly. No, so, but like, of course, like the star witness was Vladimir. Mm-hmm. He said that Rita had helped him immigrate to the United States and work at her company. And so so basically he felt like he owed her everything.
Yeah.
Because he was married and had 1 or 2 kids. Gosh. And she told him that because of the divorce and Yakov going to try to take the company, that if they got the divorce, that Vladimir would lose his job. He would have to leave the States.
Wow.
Like all these things. And so he was like, I have to help her or I'm going to have to go back to Russia.
Yeah.
So he said that together they plotted to kill her husband, that she was the one that took him to Home Depot to buy the axe and yeah. And like the garbage bag, all that stuff. Of course, I just found in my notes where, and by found, I mean just got to the part where the stuff that she was asking the PIs to like plant cocaine on his girlfriend. And then like nobody ever did it, but that's what, and then asking them to like threaten and blackmail like his other family members so that he, just shit like that. Mm-hmm. She's worried about the Russian mafia. We need to be worrying about fucking Rita. On April 30th, 1997, Rita was sentenced to life in prison after she was convicted on federal charges of interstate domestic violence resulting in death.
Wow.
She appealed, saying that her conviction was unconstitutional and was denied. So she's spending life in prison. So that's it.
I wonder what happened to her mink coat.
Well, okay. In my head, because they're from Jersey, Real Housewives of Jersey.
Yeah.
Melissa Gorga, she sings a song and it goes, on display, on display. And so I was like, her mink coat's on display. Anyway, okay, that's what I was doing in my head. But I was like, nobody's going to get that but me unless you watch Real Housewives of Jersey, which you didn't watch that. I know you do kind of now, but you didn't watch that season where she was like going to be a pop star.
Yeah. I don't watch it anymore either. After that couple went to jail, I don't watch it. Shit's going down in Jersey.
Mm-hmm. Look, that story to me was like, not even full circle is not what I want to say, but it just went from like this like amazing love story. Mm-hmm. They found each other in college. They were both so smart and went through all of this turmoil and trauma of being separated, and she fought so hard against the fucking Soviet Union and won.
Right.
And got him out. Like, worked with the UN in, like all these things. Yeah. And they got together. They were together, got back together, I should say. And raised the child, lived the fucking American dream, made millions.
Money is the root of all evil.
But I would like to give it a shot.
I mean, can I please spend $90,000 in a month?
Like, you know how people are like, money can't buy you happiness?
Oh, it can definitely buy you happiness. It just won't stay forever.
Yeah,
if you spend $90,000 in a month.
I mean, I could certainly be a whole lot happier with money than without.
Yeah.
And then it just went south and it ended up in fucking murder. And like, not just murder, like gruesome fucking murder.
Yeah.
And also the dumbest fucking murder plot I've ever heard of in my life.
Oh my God, terrible.
Like, you're going to
be so smart.
You're going to use your car to dump the body. You're going to dump the body like, because. Like,
and your cousin.
How I'm picturing is like broad fucking daylight.
Yes. On a holiday.
Right. I mean, it's Easter. Go Easter egg hunt.
I mean.
Eat your bunnies.
You're supposed to have, you know. We're in Mississippi, y'all.
Let me be clear. Yeah. The hollow kind.
I was just going to say, this is the time that you have elastic pants on.
Mm-hmm.
You fall asleep at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon until you wake up for seconds.
You got your ham.
Yeah. Dressing, stuffing, whatever you
No,
like.
I don't think we do that. What do we eat? I can't remember what we eat on Easter.
Oh, on Easter? No, we always do that. You know what? I was thinking it was Thanksgiving.
No.
I mean, I'd still have stretchy pants on for Easter,
Oh, absolutely. Because you're eating your chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Cadbury bunny eggs, the best. The OG kind, too. Yeah. The cream, not the other ones.
The caramel
I'll eat them. No, they're not gross. Okay, don't go that far.
They are gross. Original all the way. If you can't give me original, and not the mini eggs.
The mini eggs are okay.
Mm-mm.
But the OG.
The big ones. Yes. I did not have one of those until 2009, 2010.
What?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I saw this fucking commercial that they still use.
So fucking terrible commercials.
Mm-hmm. They still use from like 1970.
Mm-hmm.
Rita was probably behind the scenes going, yeah, it looks like my mink coat. Do that one. But anyway, I can't, dog with a bone here. Wishing it was a Cadbury egg. But anyway, so we were in Dollar General, shout out, and Jill was like, oh, those are so good. And I'm like, but don't they look like real eggs inside? That just looks gross to me. She was like, try it. Girl, I am made up from all that lost time. I'm like, hello?
Mm-hmm.
They are so good. I can only eat like two at a time because they really are that sweet.
Yeah, they're very rich, but I can definitely eat more than 2.
No, I can eat 2 because it'll hurt my stomach.
True.
Long-term thinking here because I buy the things with like 6 in them.
You're playing a long game.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well,
it's got to last me 2 days. I didn't say I could only eat 2 a day. I just said in a sitting.
5 minutes apart. No. I don't know. This one, I just was like, okay. I just feel like this was so many big things. Like it's a very short kind of like one-off type thing. But again, they were this power couple that beat the Soviet Union, came here, lived the dream.
Well, it's kind of like, when people say, okay, I did this, now what?
Yeah.
And it's like they did all of these huge things. Mm-hmm. What else do they have? When they're alone, they're not fulfilled because...
But he was, though, because
no, he wasn't.
Yes, in his career, I think that he was. I mean, he was
in his career, but not in his life. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't fulfilled, so he wasn't fulfilled.
True. Well, but he, that's the thing too, is that he was like this brilliant cancer researcher that was making strides in the field, very well known.
Yeah.
All of these things. And then it just went fucking south.
Mm-hmm. I feel like when you go to extremes like that, like she went on a fucking hunger strike, didn't have a Cadbury egg, like nothing. Like, I feel like I would resent him, especially when he had that affair. Be like, I fucking starved for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's why she fucking snapped. She hasn't made it past her fucking hunger strike.
Yeah.
And then to be like, you're fucking someone else?
Right.
I licked shit off the sidewalk. And it was caviar.
And then she was the first woman charged with that violence against women, interstate violence. That's like, she was definitely a headline maker. She was a
go-getter, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Rita.
Crazy.
Is she still alive?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, I should write her and be like, do you miss your mink coat? What happened to it? Asking for a friend.
I'm assuming it went to her son.
Oh shit. Is he single? That was a good one.
Thank you.
So I know you've heard the phrase, it was so silent, it was deafening.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you to picture it.
Okay.
You're outdoors, surrounded by a dense forest. So the foliage is so thick, the trees so tall and so close, it's as though they are tightly tangled together, which allows little to no sunlight to penetrate. So you're there, middle of the day, but it's as dark as night, and you hear absolute silence around you. The only sound you can hear, in fact, is your own breath. Would that be much needed solitude, or would that be torture?
That would be heaven.
That would be
kidding.
torture for me.
Yeah, it would be torture.
Oh, God.
I mean, like, I don't want, like, a chatty Cathy with me, but I also need something. Unless I'm asleep, then I'd be in heaven.
No.
Let's be honest, I would be asleep.
You'd be like, oh, it's 2:00, but there's no sun out.
Time for a nap.
This is what heaven does exist.
This is what it's like to be a bear. Get me a little long winter's nap.
Oh, God. What's his name? Rip Van Winkle?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever. Okay. So since 1950s, hundreds of Japanese businessmen, students, and housewives have wandered into that exact forest with no intention of ever walking back out.
What? Is a suicide forest? I think I've heard of this.
Yes.
Is that really it? Yes!
So, I want to take a moment and say that it can be triggering, what I'm about to talk about.
Yeah, and I don't mean like, yes, suicide.
Yeah, it's just macabre and interesting. So I will be discussing suicide, and I don't want anyone to be affected negatively by this. So if you think you're susceptible to this type of information,
in the episode.
Yeah.
You already got the best story anyway.
Exactly.
JK.
I mean, Carrie and I, we want you to know, one, that you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So if you feel like you're helpless, hopeless, you're not. Help is out there. So if you are feeling that way, please, please, please call the Suicide Prevention LifeLine. That number is 1-800-273-8255. And we will also put that in the show notes.
What she said.
But seriously. But if you're around, you can hear me jarble this fucking name.
Oh. Is it a Japanese name?
Yeah.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
Oh, okay.
In all seriousness, though, I completely agree with everything she said, that if you are having these feelings of desperation or that there's no hope, please reach out and get help, because it's available. And it can be anonymous. Mm-hmm. Just please get the help that you need.
And it's available 24/7.
Yes.
So like Carrie, of course, guessed, of course, it is a suicide forest, also known as Aokigahara Forest.
Have you talked about this before? Not like the story, but like touched on it?
Maybe not on the podcast, probably in real life, because I get to it later, but
okay.
So, okay, this is located at the northwestern base of Mount Fuji in Japan. It's like 2 hours away from Tokyo.
Okay.
It is 12 square miles long. It's also been called Jakai, and that means sea of trees. And it's because the forest, when you are halfway up Mount Fuji, looking down on it, it's these huge trees at different heights, and it's pretty much green all year round up at the top. Mm-hmm. And it kind of looks like an ocean when the wind is going through the treetops. And so it says it looks like waves. Mm-hmm. And so that's where they got Sea of Trees.
Gotcha.
So it sounds really fucking peaceful. And it is. It also has the darkness too.
All I need is a hammock and a good breeze and some socks.
And some Crocs.
No, I'd kick those off. Long sleeve pants and socks, and I'm set.
Oh my God. Okay, so Aokigahara, I hope I'm not doing that really horribly, but okay, so it was created by a volcanic eruption of Mount Fuji in 864.
Whoa.
Yeah. Okay, so when that happened, it pretty much left Japan's rulers awestruck, and they were inspired to worship the volcano as a god because it was this huge eruption.
I wonder if there had ever been an eruption.
I don't know. So with that, them thinking the volcano is a god, they also say when you walk in this isolated place, all the nature around you and stuff, it is kind of spiritual, but also it's like very beautiful, very spiritual, but also very eerie at the same time. And I think those two kind of coincide all the time.
Yeah.
You know, when something is so ethereal or whatever, you can also look at it as having a darker undertone too.
Yeah, I can see that.
But like I said, the foliage is so freaking thick. Like you can go middle of the day. Once you enter it, at certain parts, it's dark. The sun cannot penetrate through the treetops.
Golly.
Yeah, and it's because the roots, everything on the bottom is like hardened lava. So the roots can't go deep, so it just grows up and out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really treacherous, and that means that the trees kind of grow crooked and they tangle and all of this. So it just makes for such a dense forest.
And a sprained ankle waiting to happen.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
How many times do you think I'd fall walking through there?
Oh my God.
A lot.
A lot.
I fall all the time.
A lot. And then if I have you down, oh Lord, I'm not. I'd be like, just
stick a fork in me. We're done.
Yeah. Never mind. There are trails that you can walk on. However, once you go off of the trails, it's really easily to get lost. It's really easy to sprain an ankle, all of that. So it's not one that you would just want to go be like, oh, let's go walk on a Sunday. Let's go to this forest.
Yeah.
Just because it's almost where like you're not supposed to go in, you know, like where it's just too grown up and just too dangerous.
Yeah.
And from how the lava was and everything, it does have caves. Yeah.
I don't know why that was such a reaction to that, but I just wasn't expecting it.
But some of those are down further, and so that even makes it more rocky and more uneven.
Yeah. And
in some spots, it's almost like a quicksand, like hollow spot. Like if you step at a certain time, because, you know, it's eroded some or whatever. It's just, I mean, keep your eyes peeled when you're here. Also, though, on your hammock and all of that, it would not be that pleasant because wind actually doesn't go through at the lower part because it is so tightly.
It would be so hot and muggy.
So still. Yeah. So they said that one visitor described the silence as chasms of emptiness. She said, I cannot emphasize enough the absence of sound. My breath sounded like a roar. So can you imagine? Like, even when our headphones, like the sound to go out for a second and we're like, what? Like, because it's just like an absence of sound because we always hear static or whatever. And when it happens, we're like, what? Can you imagine that being all around you?
No.
But you're outside?
No, because I can't even process it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like we talked about at the beginning when you're like, yes, it is just so mysterious. It's so macabre. And we're drawn to learn more about it.
Mm-hmm. Because there's something about it that has a pull.
Yeah.
You know, like there's, you know, and so it's like you want to know more about that pull for people.
Yeah.
You want to understand it.
Yeah. So to play on what you just said, it said that people go there to commit suicide, and the ones who decide not to take their life, they claim that they were drawn to the forest to commit the act.
Really?
So, like, literally just what you said. Changeling, she knows everything. It's been called the perfect place to die. It's actually the second most popular place to commit suicide.
Do you know the first?
Mm-hmm.
What bridge?
Golden Gate Bridge.
That's what I thought.
But isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh.
That wasn't a pop quiz, by the way. I was like seeing what it was for real.
Well, you knew it was a bridge.
Well, I assumed.
So at least 500 of the people who have walked in have not wandered out.
I wonder how many of those are actually suicide and how many were people who got lost.
Right. It said that each year it increases between like 10 or 30 each year.
Damn.
Recently, those numbers increased with a record of 78 suicides in 2002. In 2003, the record was beaten with 105 bodies discovered.
What?
After that, the government stopped reporting what they saw because they didn't want it to glorify it.
Yeah.
And to, like, tell, you know.
Yeah.
Suicide is also the leading cause of death for Japanese men between the ages of 20 and 44.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And now it's looking like it's becoming an epidemic with the teens.
No.
And also, maybe surprisingly to you, for the elderly, it's a problem too.
That's not surprising, actually, because of so many people are so scared of death and so scared of suffering that that doesn't surprise me.
Well, it said that Japanese life insurance, for the most part, still pays out in suicide cases. Mm-hmm. So, like you're saying, I don't want to suffer. I want my family to be able to benefit from this. Mm-hmm. It's almost like the best of both worlds in their mind.
Right. And I wonder, like, how much of it is cultural in that, like, again, kind of going back to John List and stuff, how he killed his family because he had lost his job and kind of that prideful thing. I wonder how much of it with the Japanese culture is, like, pride of not disappointing your family with other things. I mean, not necessarily like money or just what have you. And so that's why that is one of the highest forms of death for that age range.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It said that suicide or self-inflicted death, it doesn't carry the same stigma as it does here in the U.S. Because, I'm going to do this really bad, but seppuku?
Okay.
Seppuku?
Yeah.
Seppuku? I don't know. That was the samurai's ritual of suicide, and that was thought to be honorable.
Yeah.
You know, and they've veered away from that a little bit, but it's still, that's their history.
Yeah.
And also with the businessmen at their like yearly, their fiscal end is when a lot of their suicides occur because of that.
Because they weren't as successful as they had hoped or.
Yep.
God, that's so sad.
So sad. And you know, it's just like, not all the time, but most of the time, it's self-imposed standards. Yeah. Couldn't think of the word, but you know, where your family will still love you, you know, and you even might get in a fight, but it's gonna pass, you know, like they still accept you. Like, don't let yourself get in the way of your life.
I know I always tell my nephews and, well, what will be my niece when she's not 1 year old. But, you know, like there's literally the only thing that you could do. No, there's literally nothing. I mean, it would be a process if they like did something to my parents or my sisters, you know. Yeah. But I really don't think there's anything that they could do to make me not love them, you know.
Yeah.
And support him.
Even like Charity Lee from your last thing.
Right.
She loved him. She was scared of him and wanted him to be punished. But she still loved him.
And she still supported him and she still saw him.
And fought for him. Fought for his rights and stuff. So, yeah.
I like to think that that's how I would be.
Yeah, depending on the thing. Like,
I mean, I joke whenever I tell them that. I'm like, unless you like hurt my mom and then I will cut you. But
right. That's what I was about to say. Like, if my mama was not dead and someone affected my mama in any way, you're dead to me.
Yeah.
And if you affect her in a bad, like a real bad way, You're really dead. You're dead.
Yeah, not just to me, to everybody.
And I wouldn't cut you up in 64 little bits and throw you in the river. I mean, we true crime junkies here. We know.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a threat. That's not anything. Just joking. Love y'all.
Big brother that's listening, we're just kidding. We're not going to murder anyone.
Yeah. Okay, so death by hanging is the most popular method. Yeah.
I couldn't do that.
No. And the second is poisoning, usually by drug overdose, like not by accident. You know, it is usually life-threatening drugs or that kind of life-ending drugs, I should say. They say if you visit the suicide forest, you may find old maps, personal effects, ropes hanging from trees, and nooses scattered on the floor from people who have committed suicide or died by suicide. And their bodies have been recovered, but all their belongings were left.
Oh, my God.
So people taking their lives is so common that at the very beginning, like when you enter the forest, there are signs, and translated, I'm not going to try to learn Japanese right now. Tried to do like 2 words already, and you saw how that ended. But they say, life is an important thing that we receive from our parents. Think once more about your parents, your siblings, your children. Don't suffer alone. Please talk to someone. And these are also posted throughout the forest. So with the mystery and the macabre thing, it is rooted in folklore and stuff too. The forest has a historic association with demons from Japanese mythology, and it's said to be haunted by angry spirits of people who were left there to die. Japanese spiritualists believe that the suicides committed there, with it being so dense that it's hard for their souls to escape.
Leave, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so it's basically just
almost like purgatory.
Yeah. And it just keeps festering, you know. And so it's just a lot, which complicates more because some say demons make it hard for you, like spirits, angry spirits, all of that make it hard for you to tell your directions and stuff. Mm-hmm. But also because the rich deposits of magnetic iron in the volcanic soil, it completely annihilates cell phone usages, compasses, anything like that.
I wonder how they made the paths then.
Probably, I don't know.
I mean, I guess it's like breadcrumbs, though. Like, you can always get back to where you were because you just followed your path you just made.
Yeah. Well, I talk about that a little bit later, too.
Okay.
So, again, this is the thing. Carrie tells you exactly what I'm about to say right before I say it. I'm telling you, she has a third eye.
Don't we all?
Yeah, but you're in tune with it. Well, last time, remember when I was talking about Shadow Men or whatever, and you were like, oh my God, because that person had said we had like 8 eyes or whatever, and you're like, in the back of your head. Do you not remember this?
No.
You did. You're making fun of him. So Japanese officials say, look, shit's going to go down here. You're not going to be able to use anything you think you're going to be able to use. Mm-hmm. So when you go in, use colored tape. And like you said, Hansel and Gretel this out. Mm-hmm. Leave it marked. Like, keep a trail going. One woman claimed that her tape was deliberately cut and it left her lost in the woods for a long time. She made it out, but she said that she believes it was one of the demons or the angry spirits who cut her tape because it wasn't like pulled on a tree or anything. It was like a smooth cut. Yeah. And so she said that she thinks the angry spirits did it because they wanted her to die. Yeah. Okay, new development. She's just going to say what I say when I say it. Changeling. She knows everything. episode 30, where Carrie is a psychic.
Okay, I'm just going to not say anything else.
And also a ventriloquist.
What?
Because you're like making my mouth move at the same time.
Like, I don't get it. Oh, shit.
Who's the dummy now? Get it?
Uh-huh.
So in 1960, Japanese writer, I'm not going to say his first name, Matsumoto, he released a tragic novel. I'm not going to say the name because, again,
Japanese.
Mm-hmm. It was about a heartbroken lover. They retreat to the Sea of Trees, which is this forest, to end their life. And it's a woman. And so it's romantic and all this imagery. And so, again, it romanticizes that she couldn't live without her true love and blah, 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 blah. Which, again, if you're feeling that way and something says that and you're like, yes, that's exactly
how I feel. Yeah.
So also with this, there was a complete suicide manual. That was
in the book?
No.
Oh.
In another book, though. That's really what it was called, like translated. It's where it said this was the perfect place to die. And so that book and the manual have been found in the abandoned possessions of various visitors.
Gosh.
Yeah. Those books, though, were not the start of it, like of that legacy of the darkness. Historically, it was known as a place where monks would go and starve themselves to death. One monk did it, and then it became like the destination to do that. Like, I'm going to protest this way at this spot.
That would be a horrible way to go.
You have no sidewalk to lick the shit from.
You just have a trail.
You have a trail and you have no sound. Like, you have no bustling New York City sidewalk to people watch.
I bet that you would go much quicker, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I bet they don't even starve themselves to death in that way. Like, it would be where they die by suicide before they actually starve themselves.
But how, though? I bet they do.
Really?
But I think that they may, like, as part of their weakness and all of that from the lack of food. Yeah. Not like emotional. I mean, like actual physical weakness from no nutrients. I wonder if they go quicker from the elements.
Yeah, true.
So that's what I meant by quicker.
All right. Also, Abasute, I think, is something in history that would happen. It is like, it's basically euthanasia, where it translates to abandoning the old woman. And so it wasn't like a common practice, but during famine and stressful times, the family would be like, we have so many mouths to feed, where the parents and the elders would try to go without, but they would eat, smaller portions to try to get their kids to have more than enough. Yeah. But if they didn't have enough, they would take their elders who lived with them and would drop them off in this forest to die.
Oh my God.
Because it's remote, it's tricky, it's hard to walk on. It's, all of this stuff.
What's the wildlife like?
I will get to that later. And it's not the next sentence either. But yeah, so it wasn't that they did this so they can commit suicide. They did this, but they would die of dehydration, starvation, and exposure.
What's the weather like?
Can I get to this? Damn. Everyone else is like, yeah, tell me, yeah.
Well, I was going to ask that a second ago when I said, we were talking about like the monks and stuff, and I said the elements or whatever. I was going to be like, what's the, like, is it hot? Is it cold? Is it snowy? Is it, I don't know. With the trees, like, I'm picturing, like, no wind, no, what you said, but anyway, tell me more.
Now, some say that was just grim folklore, that didn't happen, but we all know there's a little truth behind everything.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's the forest of abandonment.
Yeah.
Almost, of your life, of loved ones, of everything. Of fucking sound. That's what I can't get over. According to Japanese folklore, also, the ghosts who have committed suicide, they wander the forest in limbo, and they say anytime you enter this forest, you're at risk for not coming out because of these ghosts.
Oh my gosh.
Just like that woman who said that her
tape had been cut.
Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, you can say all day long, oh, I have this tape and I'm going to get out. What if something just randomly happens?
Yeah.
Or say another person has this exact colored tape as you or something.
I thought about that too. I was like, dang, they need to do like, how in like really big hospitals and stuff, they'll have like colored tiles that you follow. Mm-hmm. They need to do that to the trails.
Right. And I mean, some people have yarn and stuff. It's not all just tape, but it's all just, can you imagine going into this place and just seeing all of these?
No.
Like just weird things, But because of all the folklore and stuff, locals and especially children, they do not commit suicide in this forest because of all the stories. It's mostly
tourists and stuff, or no?
Tourists, but also people like from Tokyo and, places like that. But just like the people right around.
Gotcha.
It's this like foreboding place and
good
all
word.
Of this. I mean, obviously, I'm sure some people still do, but it's just that scary place. Yeah. Like fucking Slender Man lives here.
Yeah.
Oh,
God, yeah, he probably does.
Oh, God, he's probably as tall as the trees. Oh, let's not talk about him. So, like I said, the children are told it's a scary forest. Like the boogeyman lives here. Don't go in there or you'll never get out. But they do go into the paths, but it's not into the woods. Like you can go like right in the beginning, like just a little bit, like into it and then not. And if you tell the kids that and you have them scared, it's almost like keep your hands inside the ride.
Yeah.
And people do. You're like, I don't want my hands to be cut off. I don't want that boogeyman to get me if I get off the trail.
Right.
But some people believe that even if you go in there, the demonic entities will get you, sink their teeth into you and pull you into it. So even if you're just in the parking lot and you're like, I might go in, it's like you said, you're drawn to it, or you're like, no, I really should go in, or it's not going to happen to me. I'll just go in and take a look around.
Yeah.
People often report hearing screams. They say they are blood-curdling screams. Unnatural screams. And they're said to be made by the Yuri. Again, I hope I'm saying that right. A writer from the Japan Times told of an incident where he heard a terrifying scream in the forest. And again, you can't hear anything. And so if you do hear a scream, it's deafening. Mm-hmm. It's just so booming and like cuts through you.
Yeah.
He said when he went to search for the source of the noise, he came across the body of a man, and he was at the base of a tree. He was kind of in the fetal position, and just kind of like a quick examination, like not touching him, but just looking. He had been dead for some time and definitely could not have been the source of the scream, but it came from his location. And the guy said it might have been his spirit,
Yeah.
which is so sad. With like paranormal happenings, there have been some hikers that say they see a Buddhist monk inside the forest, and he is known to kind of he tries to talk them out of committing suicide.
Oh God.
It's not like he's in one location, he's seen throughout. And some say he's a ghost or a Yuri, which is almost the same thing. It's the same thing, but you'll see in a minute. Other people have reported being watched when they hike inside the forest. There's no apparent reason. There's not a whole lot of wildlife just actively about during the day, but it's still like that foreboding feeling, like someone's watching me. So, okay, more about Yuris. In Japanese culture, if a person dies in a deep sense of hatred, anger, sadness, or desire for revenge, their soul can't leave this world and it continues to wander. It appears to people affected by the spell or who crosses their path. So basically anyone,
Right.
They're called Yuri, and they can be found in many modern cultural references, such as movies, like The Grudge, all of that. So unlike our idea of ghosts, where we're like, they have something specific before they can cross over, you have to complete your life's mission. You have to
Unfinished business.
Yeah, before you can rest in peace. They want nothing in particular. It is in particular, but not. It's like, I need my curse removed or conflicts resolved, but it can be several. It can be a fucking plethora of shit instead of like
one singular.
Like, Billy has to pick me up from the prom.
Yeah.
Shout out. Are you afraid of the dark? So like I said, it's widely believed that the forest is haunted by Yuri. Okay, so in our beliefs, ghost, it takes a lot of effort to knock in response, to make floorboards creak. The floorboards underneath you. The floorboards creak to make a moaning sound, whatever. It's like, harness this energy, drain this battery. With all of that, it's usually harmless. It's just these sounds, whatever. So their goal is to contact the living, again, to try to complete whatever it is. I mean, some are bad, and we've done stories on those types and whatnot. But in general, just ghost. That's what this falls under, not like demonic, blah, blah, blah. But Yuri, they are entirely different beast. They're both tied by strong emotions and whatnot, but they are usually depicted in the same way. They say that they're usually women dressed in white with long black hair. Again, think of The Grudge. They're predominantly thought to be women because the Japanese believe that women experience deeper and stronger emotions. And so their spirits would turn in to women.
Like all spirits. Like all, okay.
Yeah. Japanese also believe that there's not, like, Shinto doesn't have a heaven or a hell the same way we do. When a person dies, their soul leaves the body and enters, like you said, a purgatory. When the proper funeral rites have been given, the soul can go to the ancestors and become like a protective spirit. However, if the proper rites are not performed, or if they die by suicide or murder, their soul may become a Yuri, only because it, again, wasn't properly buried. And so if they did get murdered and haven't been found when their soul is gone, it's there in this state. Also, I listened to the Homance and Spellcast It was called Spellmance, I think.
Cute.
And it was their little crossover episode. And Courtney's partner, he uses really big words. And Nicole was like, I bet you're really good at Scrabble. Because, yeah, he pulls out some... I mean, he knows what a fucking prime number is. But he said this word today, and I had never heard it. And then when I was doing some last-minute research, I found something that did...
Use that word?
Use this word, and
Dang.
I was like, the frick? I know what this is. I'm so smart. Now I'm going to butcher it when I say it, but I know what it means. But where our ghost, they're usually translucent, or, you know, like... It was a head and shoulders, but their body was no longer there.
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. The Yuri, the word is, they are more corporal, I think is how he says it. And it just means like solid body.
Okay.
So they have no problem interacting with the world because you might not even know they're dead.
Right.
Not like how we say it in our time, that it was an apparition.
Right.
So that just, with this monk who could be a Yuri.
He also could be a person.
Mm-hmm.
He could also, yeah.
Yeah. They can be dangerous because they seek vengeance. If you wrong them in their life, they're coming back. And it says little can be done to stop them. Again, think of The Grudge.
Yeah.
The Ring. Like, all of this shit is scary shit, and nothing's going to stop them. Like, they have to do this to get out of that purgatory.
Mm-hmm.
Though I will say that some say that the Yuri can be, like, peaceful. They can be motherly figures that come back to watch over their children, or they might come back to keep, like, a business appointment. Some kind of obligation. It said, while they might be frightening to people who happen to bump into them.
Oh my God.
These types are largely harmless. But could you imagine, like, Carrie, what are you doing here? Oh, we had a podcast episode. So.
Right. Tonight we record.
All of that to say, that is what is believed to be roaming in this forest. Mm-hmm. And because of the strong emotions that are tied to their death. So here's where I feel like is the really sad part.
Oh. Mm-hmm. How sad is this about to get?
Sad and, I don't know, just terrible. But since 1970, there have been annual searches held.
Oh.
And so there are volunteers who patrol the area, and it's not intended to rescue people. I mean, if they do, even better, that they can, you know, help guide them out of the forest, help them with whatever. But they are intended to recover the remains.
God.
Police and volunteers trek all over to bring the bodies back to civilization for the proper burial.
Yeah.
So here's where it gets like... The people who find them, or forest workers, not just the volunteers, but like police, forest workers, they have to carry the bodies back to the local police station where they're put in a special room used to house the suicide victims, their corpses. And it's because they believe if the corpse is left alone, it's very bad luck, and Yuri can then come back and haunt them. And it said, like, if no one's there, their spirits will scream throughout the night. And again, it's that blood-curdling scream. And that their bodies will move on their own. So it's like someone has to be there to...
Can it be like another body, or it has to be like a
it has to be a live person.
Okay.
So...
They have like a watchman on them, basically.
Yeah. And they say that they play... basically rock, paper, scissors to figure out who has to sleep in the corpses. Yeah. So locals say they can easily spot 3 different types of visitors to the forest. One type is people who are interested in like the caves and just like the scenic part of it. Because again, it's at the base of Mount Fuji.
Yeah.
Which is like
amazing.
Yeah. People like us, rubberneckers, who's going to be like, oh, I'm going in here for the scenic thing. And it's like, got my camera, got this, like,
yeah.
You know, got a fucking Ouija board in the back.
No, that ain't us.
That ain't us, but you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. But you know.
And we'd be like, got my golf cart.
Oh, I can't, beep, beep. I can't go up in here.
I know. And then we like get a quarter of an inch into the forest. And because of all that magnetic lava shit you said, our battery would go, meow.
Uh-huh. But there is a place, like a diner. That's where we would go.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It's right before you get into the forest. Mm-hmm. And it's not like, ooh, the diner of this. It's like a national forest. And so, which I'll talk about this in a little bit, but people go on trips there.
Mm-hmm. To the forest, they just don't necessarily go to this section.
Yes. And it's like, it's usually deeper in. And again, it's off the trail.
Right.
So the third kind of person is the people who don't plan on returning.
God, that is so sad.
Yeah. They said they have learned that if you bring a tent into the forest, that suggests doubt. And so that means that you're planning on staying there a few days to like contemplate your life and, you know, the
meaning and purpose and.
Yeah, just, I can't think of, but like how, like, what is it?
Finite.
Yeah, finite. I was going to say finite. No. So they say, I mean, again, there are people who camp. Again, like the Kimberly Kellys of...
I know. I was totally thinking about her earlier.
Yeah, she's in our Creepinati and our group, but she loves to hike and stuff. She doesn't understand. Stay out of the forest. So the Kimberly Kellys do exist, but usually if you're bringing in a tent, it's like a 50-50 of what's going to happen.
Gosh, that's so sad.
Yep. And they say that people are on prevention patrol. And if they see campers like that, they try to gently speak with them and try to, you know, get them to leave, you know, and just, again, just be there. Be a listening ear. Be an unbiased party.
Offers some compassion.
Yeah. Like I said before about the diner thing, not everyone who goes there is going for death.
Or even to that section of the forest.
Yeah. Yeah. They say that, again, it has gorgeous views of Mount Fuji. It has a distinctive lava plateau. It has 300-year-old trees. And then it has an ice cave. Yeah. So that's like a huge tourist attraction. Schools go on trips here. You know, like, again, it's on the trail part. It's very guided with that. And locals use that boogeyman scare tactic to keep them on that trail.
Right.
To not want to look sideways and see what they see.
Right.
Which, I mean, it's good because it is easily...
Yeah, but I feel like it could be the opposite too, though. You use those scared, and you're going to have like the 15-year-old kids that are like, let's go see if that's real.
Also, about the wildlife and stuff, they say that it's a gold mine for flora and fauna, and it's filled with mammals such as the Asian black bear, deer, fox, mice, bats, rabbits, birds, and beetles.
Ooh.
And it's like things that should not be there. You know, it'll be things that should not be able to grow in that climate, but because of the lava and all of that, it is so rich in nutrients that shit thrives.
Are you sure you've never told me this story before?
Yeah, I'm sure. But a lot of the animals are nocturnal and stuff. So even though it's dark, they're not always just
running around. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so this is what I might have told you about. I don't know. And of course, I go long-winded on everything. And so I might have told you about this, but I don't think so. But in 2018, the year of now, in January, a douche nugget named Logan Paul, he's a YouTuber.
Yes.
And he made the video and he had a dead body hanging in the tree behind him.
Yes.
And was just like, whoa, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's like the worst scum of the earth. Not really. He's not as bad as, like Ed Kemper. But just in the worst way possible of inconsiderate.
Yes.
Just, I feel like he's Rita with the money he's made from YouTube and Vine and stuff. He's like Rita and Justin Bieber mixed together.
This is a bad combo.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, so this like skyrocketed in popularity among like,
yes,
people who watch YouTube, aka me, because of this. And so just, it's so sad. Oh, and the person who was hanging in his video, his sister saw. Because he didn't blur anything out in his original video.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. Isn't that terrible?
Oh.
So they say, and I wanted to say this, so if you do want to go here, I don't blame you. Like, it's terrifying to me, but if you're a nature enthusiast and stuff, I could see.
It's amazing, yeah.
Yeah. But if you do go, please know that if you wander off the path, and sometimes even on the path, just know that you might find a dead person. And please be respectful. Do not film them.
I fuck him.
Right. And knowing what you know now about Yuri and stuff, contact the authorities so they can come and retrieve the body so it can have a proper burial.
Based on their beliefs, yes, for sure.
Yeah. So if you want to go, tread lightly, be mindful of other people there, and just know that if you follow the tape, you'll probably find something at the end.
Wow. That's heavy.
It is heavy.
Golly.
It is heavy, but it's just heartbreaking.
Okay, what did we learn?
We learned.
Number 1, you don't owe anybody anything.
Right.
I don't care what the fuck they do for you. Like, bring you to America.
Right. Give you a job. Doesn't matter. If they went on a fucking hunger strike, it does not matter.
I mean, we're glad that he escaped from the Soviet Union and all. But that also doesn't mean that he owes her his life.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, number 2.
2.
Know that you're not alone. And everything has a solution.
Yes.
And so we all just need the right people to help us find those solutions.
Yeah.
Help is available, so use it.
Yes. And please do not let things you read romanticize or, give this place or any place, anything that allure to go there or to do whatever. Like, nothing is worth your life.
Right.
And, there's
help.
Yeah.
Reach out to someone. Even if you feel like you have no one in your life that can help you or will listen, or you feel so alone that you feel like you have no one, you do. Call the Lifeline.
Yes. And even just in our group, in our Facebook group, we've all been open about if we're having a bad day or what our struggles are, and
serious struggles too, not just like,
yeah, like traffic sucked
or this has been the worst day at work, but which we do have that too, which I love. But everything's hard. Life is hard. And we're here. The Creepsters are here.
Yeah, we are definitely a family. Like, we always say that to new people when they're like, oh my God. Like,
so glad I found y'all, or welcome to the group kind of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, you're not, like, if they say they're a fan, I'm like, you're not a fan. You're family. You're in here. And we all are just open and honest with each other, and I love it. Now, we do have our goofy, silly stuff that we do. It's not like a super serious, super heavy group. It's, I think, the perfect balance.
It's a family.
Yeah.
And number 3.
Okay. hit me with it.
Rita needed to get with the fucking times because minks are not a thing. Bitch needs to get some faux fur.
Amen to fucking that.
So, remember.
Creep it real and don't get scared.